The Canadian ADAT is back, but let's start at the beginning. Hello and welcome to this Warno 1v1 devblog interrogation. Today we're looking at the new 1st Canadian Division, which will be arriving as part of the Southag DLC. So basically in 1989, the Western Germany was split into operational areas. There was Northag, commanded by the British, and there was Centag, commanded by the Americans. Those expansions are already in the game. Centag is the base game. Northag is the first major expansion, which you can buy if you want. They don't pay me for doing this, by the way. Southag was disbanded by the French because they decided that they didn't really want to defend Germany. And so what they did was they pulled all their guys back to just outside the French border, and they said to the Russians, if you make it anywhere near the French border, we're going to nuke Germany. I'm not making this up. This is actually what they did. But in this game, you know, Warno's a game made in France, so Southag exists. So there's going to be 10 new divisions, and it's going to include Canada, Spain, and Czechoslovakia as new nations. And then presumably there'll be some French guys, presumably there'll be some Soviet guys, you know, presumably there'll be some Americans. So yeah, in the last time I read out a dev blog, that was for the Nemesis things, and I said there's no point me reading this out because you guys know how to read, and then a few of you told me that you don't actually know how to read, so I'm sorry to hear that. So I guess we're reading it out now. Timestamps in the description, you can just skip this little bit if you know how to read. Anyway, modern education, what can you do? So, with an illustrious and distinguished combat record, the 1st Canadian Division was raised as the 1st Canadian Infantry Division in 1914, participating in both World Wars to much renown. In World War I, it fought in the Battle of Ypres, Somme, Vimy Ridge, the infamous Passchendaele, and Amiens. I know it's pronounced Ypres. I just call it Ypres because it's funny. They also had a newspaper at the time called the Wipers Times, a trench newspaper which they called the Wipers Times, so they knew about it as well. During the follow-up of World War II, the 1st Canadian Division was part of the Allied campaign in Italy, including the invasion of Sicily, the battles in Ortona, the Italian Stalingrad. That's a claim to fame, isn't it? That's a comparison. Liri Valley and the Gothic Line. Relocated to northwestern Europe in the last months of the war, it helped liberate the Netherlands as part of the 1st Canadian Army. Did these guys not fight in North Africa? That's weird. A division... 1st Canadian Division, North Africa. Were there not Canadians in North Africa? Weird. Yeah, they were. Okay, so it was just a small group of people. Alright, because I would have thought that, yeah, there you go. Oh, okay, so they really got started in Sicily. It's interesting because obviously the Canadians fought from the first day, you know, unlike the Americans who showed up late, when it was clear who was going to win. The Americans joined, but I'm just messing with you, don't worry about it. So, so yeah, it helped liberate the Netherlands as part of the 1st Canadian Army. After World War II, the 1st Canadian Division was reduced to a dormant skeleton headquarters grouping, with a short revival in the mid-1950s before being fully disbanded by 1958. It was reactivated again at the tail end of the Cold War in 1988, consolidating the command of all Canadian forces in West Germany. A little bit more about Canada's commitment to Europe's defence in the Cold War. From 1951, Canada's armed forces maintained an infantry brigade for the greatest part of the Cold War, 4 Canadian Mechanised Brigade Group, in West Germany, subordinate to the British Army of the Rhine, that is Northag. This particular brigade was strong enough to be considered a light division. However, in 1968, the new Canadian government slashed the military budget, reducing the forward deployed for CMBG strength. So there you are, Canadian bros. If you're worried about why you don't have forward deployed units in this game, it's because of your government. Another change was that the unit was redesignated to become a mere reserve formation of the US VII Corps. Bro, that's 8. Wow, I know Latin. With a relocation to Leer in the south of West Germany. Or Leer or whatever. Near Zollingen. Meanwhile, political machinations and accusations from other NATO nations, not the first nor the last time that happened between alliance members, raised question marks on Canada's commitment to NATO. It forced the North American country to promise that its presence in Europe, though at that moment greatly diminished in West Germany, was to be boosted in other theatres. An air transportable brigade, the 5E Group Brigade Mécanisée du Canada, so that's like Quebecans, I guess, was to be moved to Norway in case of war. This envisioned deployment was regarded with some skepticism by NATO, doubting Canada's ability to organise such an airlift in times of conflict. Military exercises in Norway prove that this hunch was correct. That's a cool photo, so presumably that's Canadians in Norway. Another change in government saw Canada's armed forces regain some of its strength. It modernised its ageing tank fleet in the 1970s, boosted its military budget from 1984, and by 1988 had finally abandoned the, often regarded as doomed from the start, Canadian Air Sea Transportable Cast Brigade deployment concept to Norway. So does that mean we're not going to be seeing them in Norway? Oh no! The Canadian 4 CMBG in Germany was beefed up, while the 5 GMMC was redirected to West Germany to serve as reinforcements there. The 1st Canadian Division's headquarters was revived in 1988 to command over these two formations. So basically, you know, there's a lot of people trying to predict the future, what happens after Southag, because Southag is the last confirmed expansion, and there's a number of ways they could go. They could do something completely out of left field, like Iran, Iraq or something, which I really doubt, to be honest. Or they could go south and do some sort of Italy versus Yugoslavia thing. Or they could go north and do some sort of like Norway, Sweden, Finland thing. My money's on them going north, because then they'd be able to add the US Marine Corps, which I believe was supposed to be in that area of operations. They could add Finland on the red side, like they did in Red Dragon. They could add Sweden and Norway. And so if this is the case, then that means that if that were to happen, and it's just speculation, I don't have any prior knowledge, then there wouldn't be any Canadians there, I guess, because they're all going to be here. Also, this division logo is really bad. Where's the leaf, bro? Where's the leaf? It's just a red square. I'm not if when it comes to it and this division gets in the game, I'm using the leaf. I'm not using a red square. It's just an insult, really. So yeah, I mean, it sounds interesting, right? I'm supposed to talk about the deepest lore now. The other things they could do is like they could do just make another game, right? So, but I think they'll go far north and they'll add Denmark, Sweden, Norway, Finland, and then I think they'll go far south and add like Italy, Yugoslavia, maybe Austria or something, and then like maybe like Hungary, Romania, stuff like that. I think that'd be a good place to do it. So I'm getting Discord notifications. I yeah, I'll read that later. So let's talk about the actual part. Presumably you've just skipped to this part. In 1989, the Canadian Forces Europe were based in Baden-Württemberg, very close to the French border with West Germany. This formation included the following subordinate units: 1st Canadian Division, of which only the 4 CMBG as a brigade was forward deployed in West Germany; the 1st Canadian Air Division, of which only one wing was Blimey, what the hell is wrong with me? One wing was pre-positioned in situ, and the local CFB Layers protection troops. So, Lara. Is it Lara? German translate. English.
La. La. La.
Alright, whatever. I'm calling it Lara. In case of war, the 1st Canadian Division would have been quickly reinforced by the 5B BGMG, with slower follow-up reinforcements being composed of the reservists. First whatever. It doesn't mean anything. 1st Canadian Air Division with its 2nd wing. So the 4th was a pretty heavy mechanized infantry brigade, while its cousin, the 5th, was much lighter, fielding the rather inadequate Cougar fire support vehicle. So this is why we've got Wargame open. So this is in Wargame, and it's not very good. It's basically just a scimitar gun, I apologize for the FPS being low, but I've also got Warno open. So yeah, this is the Cougar, and it's basically got the Scorpion gun on it. So that's why they cost the same, and so it's got less armor. I'm not sure why it's displaying this random helicopter here. Okay, yeah, so it's got less armor. It's not got a machine gun, and it's just got the Scorpion gun. In terms of stealth, it's got bad stealth, although so does the Scorpion in this game. So who knows? And there is a Recon variant. So if we look at the Scorpion gun in Warno, the Scorpion, it's got 10 pen, which is not good. Like, the gun is really not good. But, you know, being wheeled will give it some advantages. You know, 40% accuracy. It's worth pointing out that the Canadians in Red Dragon, right, they've got this thing going on. Uh, and they've got these like wheeled autocannons. So this TH-495 thing. Oh, it's tracked. Okay. So this is like an indigenous Canadian IFV, I think, and it's got some sort of thing on it, but it says 1993 here, and it also says prototype, so it probably didn't actually exist in real life. I'm not sure what's going on with they're in some sort of sandy place, I guess. Might be because I've got two Eugene games open at once and they're conflicting with each other in the memory. And then, you know, it's like the Grizzly is like the Cougar, but as an infantry transport, and Bison something else. But I could have sworn there was a wheeled one. I could have sworn there was a wheeled one, but I'm only like a wheeled autocannon one, but I'm not seeing it. So maybe it's just a TH-495. Let's do a little bit of on the board research. TH-495, was it ever adopted? No. It's a shame. Proposed. Yeah, I mean, so, you know, I think they should just put it in. Like, they've got all sorts of nonsense forward, you know, march to war stuff on the Soviet side, but can you do it? Looks like it was made up. They seem to have more of a commitment to history in a sort of roundabout, weird way where they bend the rules, but only when they want to. Generally, when the French are involved, the French or the Soviets. The Soviets because they need it, because obviously in real life they lost the war, and the Canadians, the French because you know it's made in France. So fielding the rather inadequate Cougar fire support vehicle. So we just spoke about that, and hardly any organic divisional assets or supporting arms. Okay, so it looks like they're getting M113s with 50 cals, so that's nice. In real life, it was under Centag because Southag didn't exist. Yeah, I like how they just skip over why that was. Because the French said, we'll simply nuke Germany. And, yeah, so in this game it's going to be under French command. So, new units are both italic and bolded, okay? And it's also being actively worked upon, so it's subject to change. So we've got Iltis CP, in the Logi tab, we've got Iltis CP and M577 CPC. So the Iltis is just a car that's in the game a few times already, and this will just have a Canadian lick of paint on it, I suppose. What the heck is that? Sorry, just messing with my settings there. And the M577 is already in the game as well. So like this is 3 per card, and the M577 was nerfed recently. Used to have 2 armor, and then it got lowered to 1 armor for like no apparent reason. So yeah, it's not great, but it's 40 points. Apart from this one's 45, despite being the same. Right, I'm gonna have to write that down so they can ignore me when I tell them. And yeah, so back to it. We've got FOB, so everybody's got a FOB. Don't have to talk about that too much. M54AA2. Which one's that? Oh, okay, so it's this thing. It's not great, to be honest, because of how slow it is. And it's not got armor and it's slow. So it's like the worst of both worlds. It's in 24th US. In terms of the availability, they're all 6,000 supply per card. Now, this is there as well. But generally for this, the only reason you bring it is because you only get one card of these. Like the wheeled... So basically, if you want armored supply, you want it to be... Sorry, if you want tracked supply, you want it to be armored, like the FV432 supply, which is overpriced. But the M113A2 supply, so 25 points for 600 supply or whatever, and it's armored, or the MTLB supply. Whereas this tracked thing, MT-LB supply, munitions, I guess, or SNAB or whatever. It's probably Russian for munitions. The problem with this track thing is what was it called? M48. It's it's got the same speed, right? But it's not got. Oh, actually, it's classed as having armor. Oh, okay, so I was wrong there. So, despite it having this canvas top, it's actually classed as an armored vehicle. So it's not as bad as I was making it out to be at all. It's actually fine. Because you've got the armor, and you've got 10 HP. I'm not sure why it's got top armor, given that it is just a canvas thing there, but maybe there's, maybe this dark patch here. No, that's more canvas there, but okay, whatever. So it's not as bad as I was making it out to be. Mancat 6x6, so, a lot of these are in the game already. So this is... So I don't know which one it's going to be. If it's the 20.1, great. If it's the 60.1, not fantastic, simply because they won't have any cheap... this is really weird. They're the same. It's the same model. Is there anything different there? No, it's the same model, except one's got 300... No, hang on, this is a transport. Right, so it's the 60.1. So basically, so far they've not got any cheap supply, although the new MLVW wheeled supply vehicle implies that this is going to be um so who knows, right? Who knows if it'll be like a big supply or a small supply. It could be that these guys don't have any small supplies and they can only... Oh no, this is it. So it looks like a big supply because of how big it is. Although the M35 kind of looks like that as well. So it really is up to speculate. Boiter M35 Lamau. Okay, I didn't even know they had that. So yeah, it looks like this. So they're probably going to have a cheapo wheeled supply. So the supply situation is going to be absolutely fine because they've got heavy supply, light supply, and the tracked supply. And there's also supply Chinooks, so they're already in the game, I think. Yeah, so like this supply, and so on, and I think like the super, the American Chinook, I think, carries more supply or something. Oh, never mind, they fixed that. Okay. It used to carry more supply, but now they're just the same. Infantry, very strong category. So they've got the 4th heavy infantry mechanized squad with M113s. The 5th light motorized ones with Grizzlies. Okay, so back to Wargame Red Dragon. We spoke about the Grizzly here. You gonna do me a favor here, or no? You're not. Okay. So the Grizzly. Come on, really? Right. Yeah. So it's got a 50 cal on it, and it's wheeled. So it's going to be like a VAB, basically. It's going to be like a VAB. So it's probably going to cost like 25 Warno bucks. And it's got amphibious capability, apparently. But it is fast, so it's going to be like a VAB. So it's going to be pretty decent. Just to show you what a VAB is. It's worth noting, like, so that there you go, 25 points, 50 cal, no smoke or anything. Although, on this one, I see smoke launchers here. There's smoke launchers here. So that's actually pretty big, having a wheeled APC with a 50 cal. It's a shame it's not got an auto cannon on it. But yeah, it's probably going to have smoke launchers in it. In Wargame Red Dragon, there is no smoke, but I see smoke launchers here. So I would assume that it would have smoke launchers. which would make it the only wheeled 50 cal vehicle with smoke launchers, apart from, you know, the most similar one would be the BTR-80, which is 35, but it's got 2 armor and it's got a secondary weapon, but it's got smoke, and it is actually really useful to have the smoke. So it's going to be a bit more like this, I guess. So it might cost 30 points, which would suck really, because I mean then like there's a lot of price compression at this range. Like so if you like the BWP one's the one I always bring up. It's 25 points for a 3 armor IFV, although this doesn't have smoke. But even then, if you get the BMP1 SP, like this is 30 points, and it's got smoke and so on, and so it's like, well, how much does speed mean to you? I'd rather have the one on the left. But the BTR-80 is decent. So now we're getting into the meat of it. So mechanized infantry all comes in M113A1s or MLVWs. There's no difference between the M113 variants anymore. It used to be that the A3 had more stuff, more armor. It used to have 3 armor, and it was really interesting. And it has 3 armor in Red Dragon, but Fun Police came in and said it shouldn't really have 3 armor, and because like look, it's got 3 armor here. But yeah, so it's just going to be a 50 cal box with 1 armor probably, and we'll see if it's got smoke or not. Like, we can't really tell from this, can you? But it just depends. Like, so the American ones should have smoke, but they don't because there's no smoke on the model. There's a lot of things like that in this game. So like the Challenger should have 2 machine guns. It should have one coaxial and one on the here for the commander. But in this game, they only modelled 1. It used to have 2 on the card, and they said rather than change the model, we'd rather get rid of a machine gun. So now it's the worst anti-infantry tank in the game. But there you go. Yeah. So mech rifles are 8-man strong, fielding M16s, 2 mini-me's, and 1 Carl Gustav. Right. Mech rifles C6, 1 out of the 3 cards. Swaps out 1 M16 for an MAG. Okay, so this is going to be a good squad. It obviously depends on the prices, but basically this is going to be like because if you look at mech rifles American, but they're going to have a Carl Gustav, right? So yeah, basically these are 9 men for 50 points and a law, whereas the other guys are going to have so it's going to be a bit more like this, and so they're probably also going to cost, well, I don't know, because they won't have shock, and they'll have 2 mini-me's instead of 2 LSWs, but they'll have Carl Gustavs, so they might be 45 points for, this one might be 45 points, because it's 8 men, it won't have shock, presumably, it'll have 2 mini-me's, 6 rifles, and a Carl Gustav, whereas this one will have 3 machine guns, which might make it 50 points for the 3 machine guns. I mean, there's a lot of price compression at this range, so some nations just sort of get shafted. The British infantry is not too shabby for its price, like the arm rifles isn't too bad, but there's a few divs that kind of suffer, really. Mech rifles since the change aren't very good, Jaeger since the change aren't very good. Like, this is really... okay. It's not the one I thought it was. So if you look at Mech Fusiliers on Belgium, they've got 7 men and 3 machine guns, but a worse AT. So if it was 8 men, 3 machine guns, and a better AT, it would probably be 50 points. But it's weird because the newer stuff tends to be underpriced compared to the older stuff. So if you look at like the Dutch infantry, like this is 35 points, which is pretty incredible. But yeah, like, and then this is 45, but they've only got 1 machine gun, so it's going to be somewhere in the 40 to 50 point range. But I think I'm bang on there. Like, that's how much I would make it. I would make these guys 45 points, and I would make these guys 50 points. Mech Rifles leader are 12-man squads, fielding 1 Sterling, some Colts, M16s, 1 Carl Gustav, and smoke grenades. The Mech CP escort squads are the same size, but field one submachine gun. What? Hang on, what's the difference here? So they've got the Carl Gustav, they've got the machine gun, one C6. Oh, I see. So they'll have an extra machine gun. So yeah, I mean, you're gonna have some beefy squads here. Basically, there are a few. So that's 6 men. What are they called? Like Green Berets leader. It's gonna be something like this, basically, except not special forces. But it's gonna be 12 men, so pretty beefy. Can survive like light bombing runs and stuff like that. The fact that they've got smoke grenades is actually really incredible. I was playing against this guy, who I won't name because I don't want to shame him, and he had like a really beefy squad with smoke grenades, and it took me like 5 minutes to take that squad out of the zone because he was just constantly popping the smoke, dodging in and out of buildings, and it had AT on it, good AT, and this has good AT, so I couldn't get my vehicles in. My infantry was losing to it because it's a 12-man squad, so you can get a lot done with these, so that's decent. Anyway, motorized infantry are all 6 soldiers strong. Ouch. Or the new Grizzly APC, right? So we spoke about this, right? So the Grizzly, I mean, I've spoken about this already. It looks like it's going to have smoke. So I reckon it'll probably cost 25 points because of the smoke, or 20 points. I mean, really, it should cost 25 because of the smoke, because a good player can get a lot of value out of smoke. What that means is that you can get a column of these guys up, and then you can like rush into a zone, and then as the ATGMs start coming in, you just smoke the first one, then you smoke the second one, then you smoke the third one. And I've actually got, I can't be bothered putting it in, but I have an example of that happening in one of my games, which I haven't released yet. But it's something you can do. It is viable. So they're all 6 strong, which is pretty grim actually. And they've got only one machine gun, and yeah, and the laws. So presumably the law 72, one machine gun, law 72's 6 men, and one of them's gonna have a Carl Gustav. So 3 cards total. So that's pretty grim. Though we're looking like more at like fire team levels now. So it's gonna be like this, except with one less machine gun, which is like, it's already not a great score. Obviously, it's cheap, so they might even be like 25 points. They might even be 25 points, right? Um, so like 25 points for this version, and then if the Grizzly's 25, that actually starts becoming very important because then that's 50 points for that unit, right? And you can get 5 of them a minute. But it depends, right? They might just make it 30, in which case it's going to be 55 points for a unit, which means you could actually still get 5 in a minute. No, actually, can you? 50. Whoops. 55 times 5. No, you can't. But if it's 50 times by 5, you can. So it's a very important distinction, actually, because 4 in a minute and 5 in a minute is especially with a unit that you could just blitz down a road. Hopefully with some AA behind it, although we haven't got that far yet. That's going to be interesting. So hopefully it's 25 points, but I'm trying to think of a single infantry unit in this game which is 25. Like, this is 20 for 6 men with scorpions, so it's possible. And then, like, who's 25? Like, even gun groups are 30. Gun groups are massively overpriced, really. So they'll probably cost 30. Can't see them costed 25. You get way too much momentum. It's a shame. But, I mean, to be honest, we're just speculating here, so there might be. So, like, Terrier's gun group is 20, right? But they're only 4 men. But this is like 4 men for 30. It's stupid. It should be 25, really, but balance, man. So, yeah, I don't think there is any mainline infantry for 25 points that we can compare it to. It's like, even Prevo is 20, but... Oh, here you go. So, RMP. So, like, that's got military, police, and security, and it's 25 points for 4 men. So, yeah, I think it'll probably cost 30. which is a shame, really. I think it should be 25, but it is a bit of a stretch at 25. But yeah, 6 men with no DMR or anything. Because if you compare it to like Panzer Grenadier, so these guys are 6 men, but they've got a DMR and they've got a decent rocket launcher, and the DMR means that I apologize for my throaty voice, by the way. I'm fasting, so I can't drink water for a bit, and so obviously, it's just difficult. So this is like 2 machine guns, and then this is a third machine gun, and so that's 3 machine guns, which are like 2 rifles each. So that's 6 rifles plus 4 rifles. They fight with the strength of 10 men. Whereas if you only had 1 machine gun, you're fighting with the strength of 7 men, which is significantly less, and your rocket launcher's worse. So I think they should cost 25, but we'll see. We'll see. Where are we? There we go. There is also a rare Grizzly CP Escort added to the division as a march to war weapon system, and it has the Eric's ATGM on it with a 750 meters range. So that's pretty crazy, bro. And never want to be left out, the French Paramarine squads of 11E will get the Eric's missile. So the Eric's is pretty cracked, actually. Those are 10-man squads. And those are 10-man squads, okay. So the Eric's in this has 25 AP, which is pretty crazy. And if you compare it to, so the one we can't talk about has 16 AP, whereas in Wargame it's got 17. But it used to have 16, it's just they upgraded it to 17 to buff pact. And so, so like if you look at like the Milan, so this is 17 still. So that means that the Eric's might have 25 AP in Warno. So imagine a vehicle with 750 meters range and 25 AP. There's nothing like that in the game right now, except like this thing, which is 24, but obviously it's got mega range, so it's not really comparable. So what sort of price would you make something that has 750 meters range but 24 AP? It's an interesting question. And if it's only got 1 armor, like it can die to any infantry AT because, some infantry AT, right? Because obviously the lore 80 is 750. So that's going to be interesting, having the Eric's in there. So they've marched to war in Eric's, and obviously the French are going to get it, because it's it's a march to war unit, so of course. Interesting point about 11E is that right now... wrong div. So right now, Paras Marine are absolutely cracked, and you don't bring Legionnaires Paras, because Paras Marine have the DMR, and as we already spoke about, that's like 2 machine guns, so this is like 3 machine guns, which is 6 rifles, which means they fight with the strength of 14 men, whereas these guys, who cost the same, you get fewer of them, and they've got Resolute, which just doesn't make up the difference. Resolute means they take less suppression in combat, and they get a slightly faster suppression regeneration. It just doesn't matter. The Paras Marine win every time, and for some reason they have 5 availability at max vet. So I'm not sure what's going to happen here if they get their Apolas taken out and get given an Eric's missile, which apparently is going to have 750 meters range. I could have sworn it was like, because in Warner, in Red Dragon, sorry, it's got like an intermediate range. Eric's. So here it's got 1,000 meters range, whereas like a Milan would have the same as it does in Warno, but there's less range compression in this game, so range matters more. But in this game it goes 1050 because it is an ATGM, it's not a rocket launcher. But they're saying in Warno it's going to fire 750, more like a lore 80. So it's just going to be like a mega Apolas, which is, the best infantry AT in the game is this thing, which is French, obviously. So it's going to be like this, except with 24 pen, which means what happens to the price of this unit? Like, it's got to go up. 24 pen? It's pretty crazy. But then how much higher do you make it? 10 points more? 20 points more? 24 pen's pretty incredible. It means it can one-shot a... so this will one-shot a 7 armor vehicle, which is like side armor on some tanks and stuff. Which means that 22 will one-shot 8, which is Leopard 1s, I think. 23 will one-shot 9, which is some more Leopard 1s. And 24 will one-shot 10, which is T-55s. So, yeah, very exciting. Also, you know, we'll see, right? Because it's going to be like it's like an ATGM, but I find it strange that they want to make it 750 meters instead of 1050. But then the price would go up again because then it would be absolutely absurd. So yeah, it's gonna be pretty crazy. And then the new motorized rifle Eric's will carry one submachine gun, which is, you know, obviously a bit of a shame. Hang on, I'm getting these all mixed up. So the C9 is the Mini-Me, the C7's the Colt, and the SRAW is the Law. Okay, so the C1 is the Sterling, the C7's and the Eric. So this is like a useless weapon. So it's not got a machine gun, but it does have a really good AT. So basically, when you make your funny wheeled attack 4 or 5 per minute, you put one of these in, and then if you encounter an enemy vehicle, right? So okay, so but this is going to come with that, and that's not going to be cheap. See, so you might have to spend 2 minutes building up your funny wheeled blob, but basically you're going to be able to cause a lot of havoc with these units, especially considering the smoke on the APC. I'm pretty hyped for this division, actually. It sounds like a proper funny div. And lastly, the new Grizzly is like a VAB, but with a turret. Oh, it's got 2 machine guns. But hopefully it's got the smoke. Hopefully it's got the smoke that it's got in this game, because that would be sort of the killer. But if it's got 2 machine guns, then it's going to be more like the BTR-80, and it's probably going to cost the same as the BTR-80. Because, you know, it's got 2 machine guns. It might be 30. It might be 30 now, if it's got 2 machine guns. It definitely won't be the same price as the VAB. So it'll probably be 30, because the machine guns are worse. And it's not got the 2 armor. So it'll probably be 30, like a BTR-60 or something. Right? Which has the 2 machine guns but doesn't have smoke. But the machine gun is better. You know, it all depends on these prices, right? But we're here to speculate. I mean, that's why you're watching this, presumably. I don't understand why anybody watches these. But they always do really well, and you guys always tell me that you want to see more. So, okay. I live to serve. If you'd like to support the channel, you can join as a generous channel joiner. They get the names on the screen, they get the videos early, they get members exclusive videos. Currently doing a full-time PhD, or at least I'm supposed to be, and they stopped my funding because I took too long. So this is my sole source of revenue. So you're carrying me through it. I do appreciate it. It is entirely my fault. If I'd just played a bit less Warno, done a few fewer things like this, then I'd probably be done by now. So my fault. But hey, what can you do? So yeah, this is really interesting, and it's amphibious, and hopefully it's got that smoke, man. Hopefully it's got the smoke, because that would make it really interesting. So reserve infantry as well, and they get the reservist trait, 10-man strong, 1 SMG, fouls, 2 machine guns, and the laws. Okay, so I don't think there's actually a squad like that in the game. Because if you look at, so like NATO's, they have 1 machine gun, so this is a NATO Bren, and they've got the fouls, right, and they've got the laws, but they're only 9 men, and this is 10. Having the machine gun is a detriment, because, sorry, the SMG is a detriment, because that means that one of you guys just isn't going to be shooting most of the time, which is a big shame. But yeah, they've got a law, and they've got 2 machine guns, but they're reservists. I'm trying to think, like 10-man, like KDA Schutzen only has 1, and they're like 14. So there's nothing like this in the game, because if you look at, yeah, all the reservist stuff, like, so this is, oh, okay, so this is 10 men, but without a rocket. Oh, actually, yeah, I suppose, no, yeah, this is probably pretty similar, actually. But they've got 3 SMGs, which is a total pain in the neck. makes their combat power pretty reduced. But they've got 10 men and an LRAC 73, which is like a law M72 law, except it's got 6 rounds instead of 4 because it shoots slower and it's got less range. Yeah, so this is probably the closest thing, right? Because these actually aren't reservists, despite being in the name, and the Belgian reservists have a better rocket launcher, one less man, and a saw fallow. So I reckon they'll probably cost 35 points for 10 men, although this is 30 points for 10 men. They've not got a rocket launcher. So they'll probably cost about 35 points like the reservist LRAC, but they'll be better than the reservist LRAC because they'll have 2 machine guns and they'll only have 1 SMG weighing them down, and their rocket launcher will be better. So, decent unit. Hopefully this APC isn't reservist, because that makes it way, way, way worse. I know it's not reflected on the stat card, but it really does make them way worse. So if you look at Belgium, again, or the Dutch, their reservists don't come in reservist transports. This is just a regular M113. So yeah, we'll see if the Canadian ones get smoke. Because in real life they should have smoke, and then that would probably drive the price up a bit to 25 because the Dutch one has smoke. It's a Belgian one. So yeah, this has got smoke, right? And this is the same thing. This comes with the reservist, but it's not a reservist transport, so it's very powerful. And then reserve leaders are 8 strong command squads with C5 LMG, which is an M1919, and SRAW. That's the Carl Gustav. Okay, so another leader. So you don't just have to pay 100 points for every infantry leader. There'll be a reservist leader. Then we've got some combat engineers. They come in Iltis Jeeps, we've covered. The new trucks, we've covered. M113A1 APCs. Or the engineer's own new M113A1 dozer with the front blade. So hopefully this has more armor. Because, you know, it's so boring seeing all these M113s and they've all got the same armor. Despite them all having different designations and so on. The only really different one is this, which has got an MG3, but it's got smoke. But yeah, so it'll be like this, but with a bulldozer blade on the front, and hopefully it's got more armor. So Pioneers are 9 men with assault rifles, 2 machine guns, and satchels. Okay, so it's going to be a hybrid between the British one, which has 8 men, 2 machine guns, and satchels, and man, who's got 9 men? So it's going to be a hybrid between these two. The Terrier Pioneers are cheaper despite having more men because they've got locked at like 0 veterancy, so they're not as good. But yeah, like, so these are 8 men with 1 machine gun, and they're cheaper, and they've got resolute, so it's just a better squad basically. Generally the pack stuff tends to be more efficient, whereas this is 10 men with 1 machine gun and satchels. So, and like this is not, oh, this is 9 men with 1 machine gun satchels for 50. So I'm sorry, Canadian bros, your squad's probably going to cost 50 points, but it'll be better than the Belgian one because it's got 2 machine guns. But yeah, it's rough that these German Pioneers are so much cost efficient than everybody else's, because the resolute trait means that they can get in close to use the satchels because of the suppression resistance. Although the machine gun can't be fired on the move, neither can this one. And you're paying like 10 points for 2 men, and you lose motion accuracy on the assault rifles because they're battle rifles instead of assault rifles. And for some reason the MG3 is better. So yeah, very exciting. It's probably going to cost 45 or 50 points. I mean, these prices are all over the place. Because yeah, if you compare it to this, it should be 45 because you get 2 machine guns, right? And this is a little bit underpriced. Whereas if you compare it to this, it should probably be 50. If you compare it to this, it should be 45. If you compare it to this, it should be 50. So, you know, whatever. Pioneer leaders, so 5 men strong with 2 machine guns, so we'll see how much they cost. So lots of CVs in the inf tab for choice. the reservist one, this one, and then the 2 mega ones. Well, okay, 8 men, which is normal, and 12 men, which is mega. And then Pioneer Flam, 9 men with 2 machine guns, 1 SMG, and 1 flamethrower. So this is where's the French one? Okay, so the French one is, yeah, so it's probably going to be like this, except with 2 machine guns. Oh, this is forward deployed. It's probably going to be like this, except with 2 machine guns. Oh, this has only got SMGs. It's probably going to be like this, but with 2 machine guns. So we'll see. I mean, right now flamethrowers are terrible, because they were just like triple nerfed by Bounce Man. They used to go 500 meters. They used to shoot a lot more often. So like 350 means they can fight whenever they see you in a forest. But it's rubbish for buildings. But yeah, the aim time is 4 seconds and the reload time is 8 seconds and the accuracy is only 45%. So all they do is miss and then they get their cohesion low and then they miss more and then they just lose. So unless they change that, this is going to be a useless unit. Like nobody brings flamethrowers anymore. Nobody with a brain anyway. It's either going to be a Flammenwerfer, something like this, but not this one, like an RPO or satchels. Satchels are just better. Everybody brings satchels now, but the satchel squad seems decent. So weapon teams include M2HBs, 12.7mm grenade launchers. So HMGs. So basically, these are a bit useless at the moment because I need one with all 3 really. 101st Airborne should do it. No. Trying to think. Who's got the grenade launchers? 9th US, maybe. Yeah, so... No. Well, there it is. But basically, for 15 points, you get 1200 meters range and 4 strength. And 12 availability. You can even upvet it by 1 to get 8. Like this guy, the short king here. I've got no idea why some of the cards are like that. They're just lower down. Like this guy, like he's like... he's Asian, so they've made him smaller, you know. But then there's like this guy down here as well. I don't know. Anyway, so for more than twice as much, you get a slightly better machine gun and fewer of them. You do get more range, which is important. But the fact of the matter is, the DPS on the 1 vet MMG with the same availability is like 60 to 70% of the HMG. So I've been asking them to reduce the price of these to 30 because there's no reason to bring them while the 7.62s are in the game. And then for 5 points more, you can get a grenade launcher, which is like way better. As you can see, it deals more than twice the damage because the accuracy is more than twice as much, the HE is more than twice as much, so that's 4 times, or 4.5 times. And then it reloads in twice the time, so you half that, so it's like 2.5 times, roughly. It's actually way more, because when it misses, it still hits you. It suppresses you straight away. So for 5 points more, you get something that's way better. So these are a bit useless right now. They should really be 30 points. ITO and TOW 2s. So, yeah, I mean... It's the wrong one there. So ITOs are 80 points. They've got 3 strength, unlike other infantry ATGM teams, but honestly, I think this is a bit overpriced and a bit under-available, because this is just a Conkers, but with more accuracy, but you only get 4 instead of 6, and the Conkers you can just up-vet 1 to get 4, and then it'll have the similar accuracy, but I guess it's got the 3 men, and then the TOW 2, where this is a TOW 2A, but it'll have like 25 pen, and it'll probably be about 3 availability like this, so that's fair enough. It's just a shame about those Ericses. It would be cool if they were like dragons. Although, I mean, it would make the div really expensive. Like, that wouldn't be cheap at all. Can you imagine a Dragon 2 with 24 pen? Pretty crazy. New CFMP are 4-man strong military police squads with SMGs, driving with a CUCV, or their own CUCV military police vehicle. Very important, military police vehicle. So this is something that, like, 24th US still doesn't have one of these, and it's pretty depressing. But So yeah, military police vehicle. Although I don't think they've got that many reservist tanks, although we haven't even made it past infantry yet. So yeah. So comparing these are going to be like Feldjäger or UAZ Kommanditure because they've got a military police vehicle, which is very important. So Feldjäger, um, 4 men, and they're a decent squad because of the SMGs and they were only 9 strength. They used to be 12, which made them a lot more decent. Now there's not really much point in bringing them, but you can poop out a bunch of these and. Basically they need to make the military police radius a bit bigger. It's not really big enough to micro them well, but they're cool. You can use them. They were better when they were 12, but the idea is that the SMGs absolutely shred in close combat. Obviously, an MP5 is probably going to be better than a Sterling, but the yeah, you just use them in forests as like swarm, and they're actually not bad because the motion accuracy is perfect, which means that you can just run them straight in there. And they win through weighted numbers, but you can only do that a couple times, with that goofy ass grin there. So that's interesting. The military police vehicle is what I'm more hyped about because you can just do Shift F and put that with your tanks. Click it, Shift F, and click on the tank, and it'll just follow it around and provide additional suppression regeneration for your tanks, which is just really good. Or you can put it with your infantry, or you can put it with your, whatever. I mean, generally it's just the tanks. If you've got a reservist artillery, which we haven't got to, then you can put it there as well. New tank hunter squads are 6 man strong with 1 SMG, Colts, and then a Carl Gustav. Oh, 2 Carl Gustavs. So this is going to be like Panzerjäger or something. So it's basically going to be pretty useless, to tell you the truth. I mean, so like these aren't great because the range is so bad. The range really makes them pretty useless. But yeah, it's going to be roughly 40. It's probably going to be less than 40 points. What they call like Papank or something. There you go. So 35 for 18 pen, which is Carl Gustav 16. So they're probably going to be like 30 points because they're also fewer men. Like 6 men instead of 7, so they're probably going to be about 30 points. But there is like a Terrier's AT group, which like they're 25, but they've only got 1 Carl Gustav, but they're only 4 men. And these are really useless because there's just no point bringing them. You can't fit them into the deck. Yeah, it's just sort of a troll unit. So because it's not got a high enough pen to one shot anything important. So it's probably going to be about 30 points because it's between these two, and you're probably not going to bring it. Because if you want to snipe vehicles on roads, then you want an Eric's, because it's going to kill whatever it hits. 24 pen, one shot's 10 armor, so you're side-shotting any tank in the game in one hit. M1A1 comes down the road, you just make sure you've got your sights there so you can side-shot him, and he's toast. What's the caliber on the Eric's? Eric's missile. The Eric's, produced from 1993. How exciting. 1994, yep, French moment. What is the warhead is 137 millimeters, so it's going to have pretty crazy, because the suppression is done off the caliber. So if you look at like a Dragon, it does 230 with 127. It depends if they give it the ATGM scaling or the shoulder-fired scaling, because you see that's 112 millimeters, but it does 431 suppression, which is absurd. Your max suppression's 500, and I think at 500 you're guaranteed a route, and there's also like route RNG rolls from 250 to 500, something like that. I need to look that up. But yeah, so it's either going to have like 500 and something suppression, or it's going to have about 250 suppression. It's probably going to be more like 250 because it is an ATGM, although it's being modelled like a rocket launcher with rocket launcher range. So you're going to one-shot route any unit with that AT, if it's not dead. And if you one-shot route somebody on a road, he's not getting out of there, basically. Especially in the new, like, there's this new bug where when they rout, they don't reverse anymore. They actually just turn around, which happens really slowly because they're on low cohesion, and then drive away, which also happens really slowly. And it takes like 10, 20 seconds for them to get out of there. And your follow-up shots are going to be coming, either every 7 seconds if it's an ATGM or what, or every or every three if it's not. Uh, there's no point in this other thing when you can just bring the Eric's vehicle, mind you, and just put the Eric's vehicle one on every road. I'm gonna love this, dude. It's gonna be hilarious. Um, so yeah, tank hunters, whatever. Here are your portraits. I have no commentary on the portraits. Um, there's oof, not gonna make that joke. I'm not gonna bring up a certain Canadian Prime Minister dressing up in blackface, and I'm also not gonna. No, let's just not go there. So artillery. So they've got British L-16 mortars, which is they've got no self-propelled mortars, which really, really, really hurts these divs. So like Belgium really suffers from a lack of self-propelled mortars, and honestly, Second Panzergrenade is just good Belgium because it gets more Leopards than Belgium does, cheaper slot costs than Belgium does, and it's got self-propelled mortars, so you can keep your stuff alive. Whereas it's got British L-16 mortars, which aren't self-propelled. Like, I mean, it's daft because obviously in this they've got self-propelled mortars, the Risley. So we need to try making a deck again. And support. Yeah, so they've got Bison 81mm mortars, and they've also got M113s mortar carriers, which they call the M125, but that's just a mortar. So it's a shame. It's a big shame. Because it just makes the div way harder to play, because your self-propelled mortars don't get counter-batteried as easily, and you can move them around as easily. You can move them around more easily. Anyways, so M114 155mm towed artillery as seen in the Dutch division. So these are basically useless, because there's no point bringing them. So basically it's just like a really bad 155, because it's got less range than all the other ones. And so for 5 points more, you get 10 kilometers more range and a better aim time and a better reload time. $23.4, 53. 23, yeah, so it's just bad because you're paying the same. You get direct fire, great. It doesn't even have a HE round. They're not good. They should be cheaper, really, but the Dutch division's really strong at the moment. What? That's messing with my head. That aim time goes up to the M, 23 seconds. Aim time, 27 seconds, goes up to the other M. So, what, is it like inversely proportional? A longer aim time means a smaller bar, but a higher ROF means a bigger bar. And a shorter reload time means a bigger bar. Number go up, and a longer range means a bigger bar. What? Okay, whatever. Then the ubiquitous M109, which is what you're actually going to be bringing. So you're just going to be bringing the self-propelled one, presumably. It costs more, but it's got, it's got 2 per card, and it doesn't die. And given that the stats on this other thing aren't very good, I covered it already. You're probably not going to be bringing this. Tank tab. A good category, though on the light side. Canada's main battle tank in the late Cold War was the new Leopard C1. A West German-made Leopard 1A3, locally upgraded with better fire control systems. Although lightly armoured, the tank gun is accurate at 2,275mm range, playing in the same league as the Belgian Leopard 1A5BE. So the Belgian Leopard 1A5BE is basically the only good part of Belgium, and you only get 1 card of it, but it's got oh yeah, wrong one. It's got 17 pen at max range, which is really useful. Whereas this is 16. But yeah, the 17, you do feel it. You do feel it. And so this is decent, and it's 120 points. And so if all they're getting is the Leopard C1s, then all they're getting is the good Belgian tank, presumably. I mean, there's so many of these Leopard 1s, and I don't think there actually is a Leopard 1A3. There's a Leopard 1A5, and there's a Leopard 1A5BE, which is the same, but with less armor, but with more pen on the gun. But you get fewer of them because you only get one card. Either way, Leopard 1A5 spam isn't actually too bad. I've got a game on my channel, which I highly recommend you check out. So, where are we? It was a really interesting game. I've referred to it quite a few times because it's always relevant. So it was between Axis and Tiberius Rancor, two really good players. Axis is playing second Panzergren, and he's just buying Leopard 1A5s for like most of the game. And there's a really good moment in this where I mean I don't want to spoil it for you, but there's a really good moment where the Leopard 1A5 wall comes in, and they it's pretty crazy how much work he manages to get done with those. So don't think, oh no, heavy tank, game over. If it's anything like this, if it's like the Belgian one, you're in business because it's got one more pen. But even if it's just like the German one, or it might be like it might have the German pen but the Belgian armor, at which point it should be cheaper. Should be like it should be like this one. Although we'll see. We'll see. It depends. It'll be like a mix between this and this. Really, these should be cheaper. Like this one especially shouldn't be 110. It is really bad. But yeah, I think in general the Leopard 1 line is kind of overpriced. Like the Leopard 1A5s, I don't think are that good. Like they don't really stand up to much. But yeah, if you get enough of them in a line, and in this division you don't have a choice because you can't buy anything else. It's saying it's playing in the same league as the Belgian one, so if it's just the Belgian one, that's crazy good. Then you've got the Cougar, which is it's this thing, and it's got a Scorpion gun on it. So I already spoke about this, but we'll speak about it again because there'll be people skipping through to like the certain sections and stuff. So, oh, because I'm on artillery only, aren't I? How do I get me out? Hello? Can I not deselect this? Razman's always going on about how the Wargame Red Dragon UI is better, but once I click on a slot, I can't get off it. Yeah, that's nice, isn't it? Oh, I see, because I'm in deck creation. Well, don't tell him I said that. Yeah, because there's an all button hit. Nah, don't tell him I said that. Wargame Red Dragon, amazing, amazing. Anyway, so it's going to be like a Scorpion gun, but wheeled. And it's going to sacrifice... It's probably going to cost the same, so like 35 points. Or is it 30 points? The M-Bad one. It's 35. So it's going to be like this, except wheeled. And it's going to have less armor. But it should have smoke, because I see smoke launchers there on the unit. I see smoke launchers. This looks really weird. It's just a spare wheel. You can see it back there. It's not that it's just got, Canada moment. So yeah, that's interesting. It says so it doesn't say that it's Recon, which is a shame because I believe there's a Recon variant in this. Yeah, there's a Cougar Recon which costs the same, which is pretty incredible given that it's better because it's got better stealth and better optics. Wargame Red Dragon's a perfect game. You're not allowed to hate on it. Anyway, Canadia feels the 151A2 Ito, as well as the Hawk Tour. Toe under armor. It's just... Okay, anyway, let's start at the beginning. M151A2 Ito.
Hello, I like money.
Jay subscribed to the channel.
Thank you for subscribing to the channel, Jay. Please subscribe to the channel. I don't want to have to get a job. Please subscribe to the channel. So, that's this thing, but without reservists, so it's going to cost 55 points, and it's actually proper decent, because it's got, it's like a Conkers, but, it's got more accuracy, and more suppression. Although, for some reason, this carries 8 rounds. I really don't understand why. This is a tiny little car. All the other little cars carry 4. This carries 8. VDV moment. And then the Hawk Tour M113, which is an M109 with a TOW 2. Mounted on an M113 chassis but less armoured. M109. Doesn't have one armour anyway. Oh, hang on. M109 is the howitzer? M901? I'm losing it. Oh, okay, so it's going to have one armour. Yikes. I mean, this is so overpriced. You compare it to the Dutch one, which costs the same but has smoke, and a machine gun, and is faster. Make it make sense? So this should be like 65. No, it should be 70 really. And the striker should be cheaper as well, but that's not relevant. So it's gonna be like this, but with less armor. So hopefully it's like, because if it's got mediocre stealth and one armor and a TOW 2, it's not very good, especially if it's not got a smoke launcher. If it's not got a smoke launcher, it should be like 60 points. But we'll see. I mean, it's probably not gonna be. And yeah, it's gonna have mediocre stealth. It's probably not gonna be very useful, to tell you the truth. I never see anybody bringing this thing. Except noobs. It's basically a noob trap unit. So that's interesting. Recon. Infantry recon can be deployed in either Iltis or Kiowas. Okay. Two-man sniper team with a scoped FAL and an L96. So that's like the American snipers. Basically, there's a bunch of snipers in this game, and the American ones are the best every time. So this is the top of the line one. For some bizarre reason, they have this Barrett 50 cal, which can one-shot 4 HP transports. So basically, the enemy forward deployment come in the other way, and it deals like 3 damage to infantry at once if they both hit, and it one-shots 4 HP helicopters, which is all recon helos. And it's the same price as this one, which is also overpowered, which has 2 regular snipers. Then you've got the next level down, which is the Brit Bongs, who have 1 sniper and 1 regular FAL. So, I mean, at least they've still got a sniper. Then all the way down, you've got the packed ones, which cost 35 points. They've got special forces, but it's not a sniper; it's a DMR. So it has 400 meters less range, and it deals, 1/3 of the suppression, and it's got less accuracy. And they all cost 35 points. So the American one should be more. This should be like 55. This should be 45. This can stay 35, and this should go down to 30. But what can you do, eh? I'm not in charge here. And then 3-man scouts with SMGs and 3-man scouts with laws and SMGs. That's So it's going to be more like the British one. So these are 4 men, but they've got a machine gun and a law, which means that honestly these scouts, they should honestly cost 25 points, because the Terry scouts are, oh yeah, because they've got SMGs as well. They should cost like, but they've got an AT. They should cost about 25 points, because yeah, you've got 1 fewer man. But if you're running around with 25-point law units, like this is going to be the most annoying division in the game to fight, because not only have you got Eric's missiles coming out of bushes, you've also got these cheapo teams with laws running around as well. And 3-man scouts GSR. I believe there's a Polish unit which is fairly similar to this. Can't remember which div they're in. Clearly not this one. Might be in the square. Sorry, that was the square. Might be in circle. Circle, obviously, a better version of square. Yeah, 3 men with GSR, so this is 40 points. And they've got a Komar, which is like, it's not very good, but neither's this M72 law's got 1 more pen than this. So it'll probably cost 40 points. And these are special forces, whereas these guys won't be. So it'll probably cost 40 points. Sadly, they don't seem to be, we're not seeing any airborne forward deployment here. Although, as we spoke about right at the beginning, you gotta blame your government, Canadians. I can't find it. Canadian government, reduce the forward deployed for CMBG strength, so no forward deployed for you, Canadians. That's gonna be quite rough, actually. So yeah, snipers are forward deployed, and it's got 2 snipers. But I mean, it's not the 50 cal, so it's not going to snipe the other guy coming the other way, and then he's just going to kill you. And then you've got the M113 Lynx, which is like the Dutch one, but worse, because it's got a 50 cal instead of an autocannon. I'm pretty sure the Dutch already have one like that. The Dutch, this is such a stupid div. Yeah, so it's going to be like this, as opposed to like this. Although I suppose it's only going to have 1 armor as well. It'll probably... But it's not got GSR, so it's going to be very good optics with a 50 cal. So it's going to be worse than this, and worse than this. So it should be like 25 points. Trying to think of comparative units. I don't think there are any. Oh, the one on Belgium, which is 25 points, actually. But this has exceptional optics for 25 points. It's got GSR on it. So it's going to be like 20 points. It's going to be about 20 points, that. And then, unarmed CH1, this is the Kiowa, right? So they're going to get Kiowas. There was some American who says it's not pronounced Kiowa, it's pronounced Kiowa. I'm calling it the Kiowa. And it's unarmed. So, I mean, is there any of those like that here? I guess this. Yeah. So it's going to be like this. So it's going to cost about 40 points. This should be 35, actually. This is overpriced. But yeah, very exciting. And where am I? I'm getting confused here. And then there's going to be a minigun version. Okay, so it's basically just this and this. So this and that. And they're both like 4 availability. The minigun's actually proper useful for openers and stuff. I'll tell you what's useful. The MI2 with the 4 times PKT. Do not underestimate this thing. I've ran at this thing and my stuff just died. 4 PKT's not bad. So, it's worth thinking about. And then the CL-89 drone. So they get a drone, which is really useful. So the CL-89 is basically, it was produced by Canada, Britain, and West Germany, and it was in 4th Armoured. So naturally, the UK don't get it, even though they get it in the campaign. They don't get it in the etc. But yeah, it's a drone. 4th UK could really use that, to tell you the truth, but hey, what can you do, eh? So, yeah, it's a drone, which are really useful. AA, due to the dire conditions of the divisional assets, no organic anti-air battalion is present. However, the Canadians do have some air defense aces up their sleeve, or you'll see. This results in a decent category, thanks to the number of slots and their cost, with some unusual and interesting choices. So, they've got blowpipes and javelin manpads, and the javelin's only going to be available sparingly, which I assume means 1 unit. And then you're going to have like 2 units of blowpipes. Blowpipes are absolutely useless in this game. They might as well not be in the game. They should literally cost 5 points. But they're very, very bad. And the accuracy is 30%, which means they don't hit anything. And the range is terrible on the aircraft. The aim time's very high. You know, just everything about it is just bad. That's what it's the same as a regular javelin, which is also bad, also overpriced. Like, this should be 35 on the left, and that should literally be 5 points on the right. And, like, the suppress on miss thing doesn't work, because basically the British suppress on misses seem to be really low. I'm not sure why. Actually, I am. It's because French company, bro. But no, it's because the calibers on these are really low. So, anyway, one thing I was talking about is that somebody was telling me that people would actually use these against infantry, because basically what it is it's an ATGM, which they try and manually shoot at planes, which obviously doesn't work because you got to like literally follow it. It's not got any computerized targeting in it, and so what people would do is just use it against infantry, because it's literally a guided rocket launcher and you shoot it at infantry. So it'd be really cool if blowpipes got their anti-infantry capability. That'd be really cool. And you could even make it like really weak, but you could basically just make it like an M67 recoilless rifle. It'd be really interesting, but you know, you just don't really do interesting. So probably not going to happen, you know. But it would be cool if it just dealt a little bit of HE, not even that much, and then there might be a reason to bring this unit, and you could just make it 1,000 meters range. It would be cool. It would be cool, and it would give this division some much needed, anti-infantry fire support. Although, I mean, you've got loads and loads and loads of 50 cals apparently. Yeah, like, is this not a transport? Could this not be a transport? It looks like a transport. Like, what's going on in here? Interesting. Maybe the ammo takes up all the room. Who knows? Anyway, there's also going to be a CUCV blowpipe, which is blowpipes on vehicles. And this is, like, I mean, it's also going to be useless. Maybe if this comes with this, like, there's a few squads like that. So if you look at 76Y, they get Iglas in Igla transports. So this is 2 Iglas for 80 points. And you 2-vet them, so it's actually really useful, and it's airborne forward deployed. It's actually a really good card, like everything else in this division. And as you can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Unlike the Rover Milan, which carries 6 but only has 4. Anyway, if it was like that, then maybe, like, and you literally make them 10 points each. I suppose the transport probably have to be 20. Because it's wheeled, but I mean, that's just blowpipe. If you make them 10 points each, then maybe it's useful, and you can do meme strats with it. Because the fact of the matter is, when you're doing your funny infantry attack with your your Eric's vehicles and your other wheeled vehicles, this is gonna be your wheeled AA. Oh no. Anyway, it gets better. The ADATs, which is what we're all here for, the ADATs basically is, I'll just read out what it says. No, I won't. It's really cool. So it shoots at vehicles, helicopters, and aeroplanes with 70% accuracy and an AP power of 25. So it's really good, and it's not seedable because then it's not seed missiles. It's like Saklos or something. Or guided in this case. So yeah, this thing is really cool, and it's not got much armor, and given that M113s in this game are like 1 armor, but this model has smoke on it. These are smoke launchers, and this model has smoke on it because those are smoke launchers. So it will bring its own smoke, and it will be able to shoot at So it's gonna missiles slightly inferior to the TOW2, so it's gonna have TOW2 range, and it's gonna have SAM missiles better than the OSA AKM, and it can fire 8 missiles, so it's really cool. Sadly, it's on a tracked chassis instead of a wheeled chassis, which would just make it OP really. But so if you look at the TOW2, and you look at the OSA. So it's going to have, what does it say, slightly worse than an OSA? Bit better than the OSA. So it's going to shoot like, I mean, let's just assume they give it OSA stats. It's going to shoot 2,625 meters against ground targets, 3,175 against helicopters, or maybe more somehow. I mean, that's the max anti-helo range, I'm pretty sure. And 3,875 against aircraft. So that's incredible. And it'll probably have, like, because it says better than an OSA, maybe it's 8 HE instead of 7, at which point you're one-shotting F-104s, you're one-shotting MiG-21s. So, and it's got smoke. It'll probably only have 1 armor, but it's going to be great. It's going to be great. So basically, your Leopard 1s, so you've got 2 blobs running around. You've got your wheeled blob, which frankly can't defend itself from the air, except you've got Javelin LMLs on M113s, which is a big shame because in this game, it's called the Wolverine, isn't it? In this game, you've got Javelin LMLs on wheeled transports, which is really useful because then that funny wheeled attack you're doing will have organic AA, which is decent, as opposed to organic AA, which is blowpipes. So, like, why is there no CUCV Javelin LML? Please, bro. Anyway, and then this is the Oerlikon GDF-005, which is a more accurate version of the British Sky Guard, and the British Sky Guard is just a Gepard. So it's a towed Gepard on a wheeled transport, so you can bring this with your funny wheeled blob, and it's gonna have better stats than this, and it says better accuracy, so I'm assuming it's gonna be like the Cheetah, because it says Oerlikon GDF, and this says Oerlikon GDF. So it's going to have Cheetah stats on a towed gun, so it's probably going to cost 65 points with a 20-point transport, so that's 85 points. And you can just stack that with your funny wheeled guys who are running around causing havoc everywhere with their Eric's missiles. And then you've also got behind that a mech blob consisting of reservists with M113s, Leopard 1s, and ADATs. So this division sounds incredible. Helicopter tab, so they didn't have a helicopter attack battalion, and they were going to use the US 7th Corps Reserve, which is going to be twin engine C. Okay, so it's a UH. Isn't that a Huey? UH-1N. I'm not sure what N means. Obviously, this is M, but this is H. Maybe it's faster. I don't know. It's probably going to be the same. The Royal Canadian Air Force was the designer and main user of the CRVT FAT rockets, which are new in-game anti-tank rockets. So this is a really important distinction. Basically, in real life, these rockets on these, like the Hog and stuff, these actually have a really good penetration value, and same with the Heinz, the Mi-24s, etc. These rockets are actually designed, like, they've actually got a really decent penetration value. In game, they are absolutely useless against armor. We've all seen it happen. Helicopter comes along, forward deployed unit coming the other way. Forward deployed unit unloads. Helicopter decides it wants to shoot the Humvee instead of the unit that's just unloaded. Shoots at the Humvee, all 76 missiles, and does nothing. It takes 76 missiles to kill the Humvee, basically. And meanwhile, the unit he just unloaded has a Stinger and shoots you. So we'll see how fat rockets are. I mean, basically, this div in game does have in the previous iteration, Red Dragon does have some pretty cool playing use. Like so that these are the CRVT-7s. The thing is that these rocket planes in Red Dragon are way better than they are in Warno, because in Red Dragon they fire all the rockets at once. It literally goes BAM! And they all just fly out and hit the infantry unit, and then you can bug out from basically max range. So that's really, really useful. Whereas in Warno they fire like... So basically only the rockets with high calibers are useful. What is the caliber of a CRVT-7 FAT? Probably says it right here, actually. No, it doesn't. Okay. Oh, yeah, it does. 70 millimeters. That's not great. That's not great. Because this is 70 millimeters, and they don't fire very fast at all. This should really be 3 per card, really. So that's pretty rough. And they're also going to put... So here we go, a bit of... I like it when they do things which are like, March to War and stuff. I like it. I think it's interesting. It's a shame they didn't put the IFVs in, but whatever. So the division will field Hueys with gunships with the anti-tank rockets. So that is going to be like that Huey one we were looking at. So it's going to be like a mix. It's going to be like this, but without the miniguns and without the grenade launcher. So it just depends how many rockets they give them. So it could be really interesting. It's going to be we're like stepping into like Link's rocket territory, I suppose, would probably be the best comparison. So it's going to be something like that, except they're going to have anti-tank rockets. We'll see how useful these anti-tank rockets are. They could be anything from useless to incredible. They could be useful against IFVs, or they could just be like I1v1 your AA piece and win sort of thing. It could be anywhere. It is pretty funny how the Lynx rocket is so incredibly overpriced. Like, for 5 points more, you get grenade launchers, miniguns. Like, Lynx rockets faster. Anyway, and the Americans will give them some tow cobras, so there you go. Basically no downsides, except no heavy tanks, no forward deployment. And your recon tab's a bit kind of bad, to tell you the truth, although you've got drones. But yeah, your recon stuff isn't incredible, really. It's a shame they don't have, like, recon Erics. Oof. You know you'd love it. Air tab. So, they get F-18s, which is absolutely hilarious that F-18s are getting added in the game, and they're coming to non-American divisions first. I need to stop looking over here. That's where I am. This is where you are. I need to laugh at you. I mean, laugh with you. Huh. Anyway. So the CF-18, I mean, we saw it here. CF-18 Hornet with Rock Eyes, with AIM-9Ms, with Vulcans. Pretty beefy plane, 30% ECM. Fast. Rock Eyes are decent. It's got 8 of them, which is cool. And then it's got 2 Sidewinder missiles. There's more hardpoints here, I think. So maybe it'll have 4 Sidewinder missiles. I don't know. So it'll come in AA variants, rocket variants with the FAT. So there you go. That's your anti-tank thing. So we'll see how good it is. It might just be trash. Or it might be really good. HE and cluster. So I looked this up, and apparently these guys didn't use Mavericks. So apparently there's not going to be any AT ones. I looked it up. I don't know if they'll march towards something. But here, look, you can see the loadouts, actually. So those are Sparrows. Those are AIM-7s. And those are AIM-9s. I don't know which variant, right? And then these look like fuel pods or something. So that's the AA variant. And then they're going to have the CF-5A, so the Freedom Fighter that the Dutch get, in HE and cluster rolls. It's a shame that there's no rocket ones. And then they're going to have Silver Star Mark III. Well, to be honest, let's talk about this first. I'm skipping ahead. So these are actually pretty decent on the Dutch ones. For starters, they come at 3 per card. They've got 10 HP and 20% ECM, and they only cost, 3. They come at 3 per card for the rocket one, but sadly there's no rocket one here, so it's going to be HE and cluster, so it's going to be like this. And they're probably going to have better AIM-9s. They're probably going to have AIM-9Ms. But I don't know that. I mean, I'm just speculating. So we'll see. And then Canadians have the Silver Star Mark III AT trainers, which could be turned into light CAS aircraft with regular HE rockets. So is this... Is it this? We'll see. It looks like more like a Magister. Interesting. Interesting. So it's probably going to have 6 HP. Lockheed T-33. What is the Magister? I mean, it looks very similar, but it's probably different. Yeah, because the wings at the back are different. Yeah, so it's different. But that's pretty interesting. So it's going to have... interesting. HVAR rockets, maybe? So yeah, interesting rocket planes for the early game, probably 3 per card, and yeah, sounds really cool. In the March to War timeline, this is my favourite plane in the game. We added the sole ever produced Electric Voodoo electronic warfare plane. In Warno, it was kept in service, and they added a second one, so it's going to be 2 per card. The aircraft's sole role being unarmed. Oh, what? So they don't get seed. That's a shame. So in this game, the Electric Voodoo's got a Shrike on it, and it's pretty funny. It's like a really cheap seaplane. You get 3 of them, but in this game, it's just going to be EW, and you only get 2. But given that some of these loadouts, particularly these anti-tank rocket loadouts, you basically it's like the Fortitude Fence Division. I mean, he is Canadian, so I guess it makes sense. So you've also got air spam. This div's going to be really, really fun. It's going to be really, really fun. It obviously depends on its slot costs, but it's going to be really, really fun. You don't have IFVs, but you got so much other stuff. So basically, you'll use the Voodoo to light up enemy AA and soak enemy AA. Sadly, it's only 2 per card. It's probably just going to die. And then you send in the rocket, the cluster, the HE planes, particularly these like Freedom Fighters with their 10 HP, and you use those to target the AA sites that shoot at your Voodoo. and it will be lighting up the seed ones anyway, and it'll be lowering their accuracy anyway. So that's really cool. Really cool airwave there. No proper seed, but what can you do? Obvious strengths and drawbacks. I'm not sure what the drawback is. I guess no IFVs, and that's all that matters in this game. IFV spam, IFV spam, IFV spam. And no self-propelled mortars is pretty rough, makes your mech blob a lot weaker. But yeah, it sounds really fun. It sounds really fun. And then they start shilling South Hag. So, you know, I hate these people so much. Yeah, so if you enjoyed this, I mean, I've been yapping on for an hour and a half, so I do apologise for that. But people want me to cover these divisions, and I need to add my own thoughts. Otherwise, there's no point you watching it, because obviously you can read, although people keep telling me they can't read. Please do drop a like. Please do let me know. And as long as people keep complimenting me, I'll keep doing this. So you stop complimenting me, that's it, bro. And I'm really looking forward to this division, although the logo is trash. So I'll see you around.